Now on News 11's Early Edition, students lead the call for change in the aftermath of Wednesday's deadly school shooting. The latest developments out of Florida coming up. And an Arizona family speaking out after what they call police brutality against their 84-year-old grandmother. How police are responding. And then hundreds lined the streets this morning to celebrate the founder of the foothills in this annual parade. Why the parade is special to residents, we'll tell you coming up right now on the Early Edition.
You're watching the Early Edition on KYMA News 11, where news comes first.
Good evening. Thanks for tuning in to News 11 tonight. I'm Blake Keller. Now, students are leading the call for change after yet another mass shooting. They gathered with their parents and other members of the community for a rally in Fort Lauderdale to call for action on gun control legislation. Omar Jimenez reports.
If you see a teacher from Stillman Ducks, thank them, because we all owe our lives to their bravery.
Students have become advocates in the aftermath of Wednesday's shootings. Speaking at a rally in Fort Lauderdale, they called on lawmakers to take action on gun control.
Because of the systematic failure of our government on every level, people are dying every day.
What's ironic is that while our elected officials fail to act, we have brave students who are leading the way and calling for passage of these laws.
Vice President Mike Pence said Saturday the White House is making safety in schools a top priority.
We're going to remain focused on bringing renewed energy to making our schools safe and taking a renewed look at giving law enforcement and local authorities the tools they need to deal with individuals struggling with dangerous mental illness.
And as others talk about what more can be done, Alan Varela wonders what more he could have done. A friend of the gunman, Varela says the two of them had lost contact with each other.
I felt like I could have stopped it, and I know it wasn't my fault, but I felt like I could have stopped it. That I could have been there for him, that 17 people wouldn't have lost their lives.
I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
And here locally, opening statements for the trial of a man accused of murder took place on Friday. Francisco Serrano is accused of shooting and dumping the body of a Honduran field worker back in 2016. The state argues that the second suspect involved, Jose Sorto, was the one who shot the victim. The prosecutor added that Serrano knew the attack was going to happen, making this a case for conspiracy of murder. Both men allegedly loaded the victim into the car. The prosecutor saying the victim, Emmanuel Navarrete, was still alive at that time.
Do not tell. You're the only ones who saw. He does not say it to Serrano. Can't be the only witness if Serrano is seen as a witness to Sorto. Serrano's not a witness, he's a participant.
Facing first-degree murder and kidnapping charges, the second suspect entered a plea deal back in November of 2016. He is now serving 22 years in prison. The defense argued Serrano is not guilty of all charges. And a man from El Centro has been convicted of a long list of felonies from an incident in March of last year. Prosecutors say Jose Torres physically attacked a woman while forcing her to drive around, looking for money to fuel his drug habit. He jammed scissors into her thighs, kicked her in the face, punched her in the mouth, and tried to stab her with a knife. In fear for her life, she tricked him into thinking she was getting a MoneyGram to buy drugs. But when she got to the counter, she passed the clerk a note to call the police. Torres will be sentenced on March 14th. And it was a scramble for safety when a 21-year-old woman was driving off of 4th Avenue in Yuma and had a rifle pointed at her. She is okay. Tonight at News 11's Esmeralda Cisneros has a look at those 4 suspects. All right, we'll move on. We're just experiencing some technical difficulties here, so please bear with us. Of course, we will try to get that story coming up later on as well. Let's move on now here. An Arizona family says their 84-year-old grandmother was left bloodied and bruised after an incident with police. But officers say they were just trying to keep her out of harm's way. And we're just going to move on now to RV World sponsored Skycam. So my director is telling me we're having a little bit of issues bringing up those videos. Of course, we'll try to get that to you as as soon as we can. But taking a look now at our RV World sponsor SkyCam, I'll just give you a brief rundown of what our weather is looking like today. So we did have the Hanks Day Parade over in the foothills. It was a beautiful morning. Of course, we're looking at temperatures at about 73 degrees. And then we have a 75 as our high today with a low of 51. So not too bad out there. And just that picture right there just gives you a glimpse of what those conditions are looking like as well. We'll have the full weather forecast. But coming up next on the early edition, we'll have as many families are left without a home. A generous donation was made to those affected by the Mesa Heights apartment fire. And we'll see how one business is stepping up to help those in need. And like I mentioned, that Hanks Day Parade, one man's dream of developing the desert turned into reality. What residents are saying about the annual Hanks Day Parade in the foothills. That's up next.
You're watching the early edition on KYMA News 11, where news comes first.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us, of course, with our technical difficulties. So we're going to bring you these stories that we tried to bring to you in our last block. So like I mentioned, it was a scramble for safety when a 21-year-old woman was driving off of 4th Avenue in KYMA and had a rifle pointed at her. She is okay. But News 11's Esmeralda Cisneros has a look at the 4 suspects.
During the early morning hours on Friday, a scary situation for a 21-year-old woman. Police say she was driving northbound on South 4th Avenue when a white Toyota Camry came up next to her. The unexpected happened. Police say a passenger pointed a rifle at her. The 21-year-old managed to make a turn off of 4th Avenue while the Camry continued the opposite direction. Police were alerted and stopped the car on 4th Avenue. Police say they found weapons, drugs, and drug paraphernalia inside the car. 4 arrests were made. 26-year-old Vincent Shepard, 27-year-old Anthony Shepard, 19-year-old Gabriel Teles, and 21-year-old Chance Solis. Some residents say they are starting to feel immune to violence like this.
Sometimes people just, I don't know, they take too much liberty with violence nowadays. I mean, they think they could just get away with it now. I mean, it's happening everywhere. You know, it's kind of like something people see regularly.
Born in LA, but I was raised in San Bernardino, so I'm kind of used to that.
One person, it's affecting all of us. We can't just sit by and say it's okay and it's a sign of our times. That's not okay. We have to take action, and if it's happening in our city, then we need to address it.
Alrighty, we're sorry about all those pauses as well. We're going to get through this, of course, I promise. All right. An Arizona family says their 84-year-old grandmother was left bloodied and bruised after an incident with police. But officers say they were just trying to keep her out of harm's way. Lexi Sutter has the story from Mesa.
Traumatized, hurt, and sad. That's how 84-year-old Virginia says she's feeling.
I've talked to police out in front of my house for 30 years. And there was never anybody that ever behaved like this.
Mesa police were called to Virginia's home to check on her grandson. Virginia says it was a simple welfare check. Police say the call was for a suicidal person with a gun. When officers arrived, that person they went to check on did cooperate. But while police sorted it out, Virginia went out front. And that's when she says her conversation with an officer ended with her injury.
Grabbed my wrist real hard and just I didn't know anybody could hold you so hard, and it hurt so bad. I said, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And I guess the next thing I was waking up on the asphalt next to the police car.
In a statement, Mesa police admit to using force on Virginia, but say it happened because she tried to go back inside and the officer was grabbing her to protect her. Her family is calling for major accountability.
It shouldn't happen. There should never be any reason for an 84-year-old grandmother who she's had her 4th stroke in December, to be put on the ground.
What's he doing to other people that he misunderstands the situation?
And police are conducting an internal investigation into that incident. They say Virginia's grandson was found with a BB gun, and Virginia received a ticket for reportedly obstructing justice. And you may remember the Mesa Heights apartment complex in Yuma was destroyed by fire, and police believe it was intentionally set and continue to offer a $10,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest. But until the suspects are caught, donations are coming in from Quintero Furniture. They're very generously going to be donating beds and other items to families who lost everything. We'll have more on this story coming up tonight on Nightside. And U.S. Customs and Border Protection is hiring frontline law enforcement officers and agents. It'll be at the Goodwill Career Center on 8th Avenue in Yuma. It's on Thursday, February 22nd from 1 to 6. They will have on-site recruiters, resume reviews, and you can apply right there on the spot. Many officers say it's an incredibly rewarding career. And hundreds of residents in the foothills lined up along Foothills Boulevard to pay tribute to the founder of the area. The annual Hank's Day Parade started this morning and ended with a car show, barbecue, and live music. Entries in the parade included Yuma County Sheriff's Office, the Foothills Shrine Club, and motorcycle clubs, just to name a few. Residents say the parade is a tradition they love to attend every year.
Well, the Hank Days Parade is special to us because we've been doing it for 17 years. It was an open area where a man with a handicap came out and built this area up to what it is today.
I love listening to the bands, and then I came down here for the car show. I'm kind of a car nut, and I just enjoy being out in the beautiful weather that Yuma Foothills has.
And the proceeds from the car show and barbecue will benefit various charities and community projects in the future. Alrighty, coming up next on the early edition, while the U.S. seems to be in a medal drought, one Olympian is making history for his time on the ice. Find out how coming up in our Olympic recap. And we're expecting mostly clear conditions for the week ahead, but we may see a dip in our high temperatures. I'll let you know what we can see in our full weather forecast. That's coming up next. Another medal for USA. After a couple of days of medal drought, we added a silver, bringing us up to 9 total. But perhaps the biggest highlight of the past 24 hours came in an event where we didn't even medal. NBC's Gina Kim joins us from Pyeongchang to explain.
22 points to make up. He didn't win a medal, but figure skater Nathan Chen has now accomplished something no other Olympian has done. And another quad toe. He became the first man to attempt 6 quad jumps in a competition and the first to land 5 of them cleanly. In the free skate program last night, that gave him the highest technical score ever recorded.
Honestly, I was a little bit over it after the short program, and I was like, all right, well, tomorrow's a new day. I have to finish what I started, but I didn't really have any expectations for myself.
Chen finished in 5th place despite being ranked near the bottom after his short program the day before. Japanese superstar Yuzuru Hanyu became the first man to take back-to-back golds in this event since the 1950s.
One run it is to decide it.
In her first Olympic race in 8 years, Lindsey Vonn made a mistake near the bottom of the Super G course and tied for 6th place.
I know I gave it my best, but still frustrated with the mistake that I made.
Vonn still has 2 more races and opportunities to medal.
You could feel that intensity in the start.
In Pyeongchang, Gina Kim, NBC News.
Now, your Weather Authority local forecast.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. So RV World sponsored Skycam right there. You've seen that beautiful sky right there and those conditions. We're looking at mostly sunny currently with a temperature of about 73. Let's take a look at our radar and satellite. So you can see the few clouds in our sky right there, and we are experiencing some clouds rolling through our region tracked on that radar and satellite. Tonight's forecast, you can expect partly cloudy tonight with a low of about 51 in Yuma, 48 El Centro, and 47 in Imperial. Those high temperatures are 77 for Yuma. This is for tomorrow, 78 in Imperial and El Centro. Let's take a look now at our 8-day forecast. We might be seeing a little bit of a dip in our temperatures. So like I mentioned, 77 tomorrow for Sunday, but at the beginning of the week, we're looking at 64 degrees, and those 60s will continue throughout the week up until about next weekend. We're going to look at those low 70s again. Those overnight lows, they're sticking in the 40s and 50s. For Imperial, they're looking at 78 degrees for Sunday. We're looking at 63 degrees on Monday. Those are dipping down into the mid to low 60s before we jump back up into the low 70s by next weekend. Those overnight lows, they're even taking an even lower dip into the mid 30s. You can see by Thursday, that's about 35 degrees, a little bit chilly there. So, you know, definitely might need a blanket or a sweater at night, but during the day it might be just absolutely perfect. All right, don't forget to connect with me on social media. You can find me on both Facebook and Twitter. My handles are on your screen. If you have a story idea or any questions, I have my email address provided for you. And for all the latest news and updates, follow KYMA 11 on Facebook and on Twitter. Visit our website at kyma.com and download our mobile app. All right, coming up next on the early edition, one local star athlete has made a decision that will change her life forever. More on what that decision is when we come back.
Now, local sports from KYMA News 11.
A young local star has made a decision that will affect her for a lifetime, and she is positive that this is what she wants. 13-year-old Jasmine Polk is the only and the youngest softball player to commit to a school from the class of 2023. She says she is sure of this and nothing can stop her.
Cal Berkeley is the #1 school, public school in the U.S. and #4 in the world, and the education's unbeatable. And if you see the team and the coaches, you can really tell the coaches care about the team, and you can't just beat it. You can't beat it. I love it.
And how this young athlete got an offer and why she is so positive about her future at Cal Berkeley. We will have the full story here tomorrow at 10 p.m. So make sure that you tune in for that. And it was all a dream for the Yuma Criminals. Literally, the Criminals have been celebrating all week their first state title in 55 years. Several gems in that program that helped accomplish this goal. Coach Jeff Welsing says he did not think this would happen, but when he realized they were close to this happening, he quickly took it all in and prepared for it, preparing his seniors especially to compete with all the other talent from across the state. Then went on to confidently share that he saw this championship coming in his dreams. Senior wrestler Omar Vega had control of this dream at the tip of his fingertips when he pinned.
I was at a loss for words when I won. I never thought his dream would actually come true. It was an exciting moment. I was lost and speechless when I pinned him.
You didn't think it would come?
And the state champs now look forward to the next season, but first they want to compete in senior nationals. One of the key guys on this team, Jonathan Ruiz, wants to compete at the national level and take his teammates with him too. Now you can find more information on our website at kyma.com, where you'll find a GoFundMe page to send these kids to the nationals.
We wanted to make sure that our community was included and that it was something that people wanted to come out and watch, and I think we've been successful. Our local gyms have given us some pretty strong competitors, so we're happy that we get to have the competition part that attracts competitors from around the country.
And one man and woman will be crowned the strongest person in Yuma tonight. 29 competitors, both locally and out of town. Even the 2017 California Strongest Woman participated in this competition. The Bowl of the Desert, a strongman competition, included many events from the truck pull, which you just saw, keg press, Atlas stones, car deadlift, and the tire flip sandbag medley. They had activities for kids as well, several fun jump houses, and more. They even gave our own Jasmine Arenas a taste of it by letting her join in on the fun. You can see her entering that ball right there. That's so awesome. And also local Gila Ridge wrestling coach Dave King competed for a title.
But I think it's really just going to grow. It's an awesome event. I think there's a ton of community involvement, and I think that Yuma's got a really good kind of foundation for this kind of stuff. There are a lot of people here that love this stuff. So.
Alrighty, that's wonderful, and our Jasmine Arenas will join us later tonight on Nightside, of course. But